Would be amazing if this doesn't get striked with the amount of time I'm probably going to mention Bomber. Anyway, Bomber was a role that was added in September the 14th, 2018, and luckily it wasn't added 3 days before it. As you have probably read from the title of the video, Bomber literally is a bad solo killer, and I'll explain why later. But before I explain as to why it's bad, I will explain what it does. During the night, Bomber can place 3 bombs on 3 players based on their grid position. It can also be horizontally, vertically, and diagonally. And then during the next night, the bomb will explode and kill the players who have the bomb within the next 5 or 10 seconds of the night. You cannot kill yourself that way, and like other solo killer, you have an unknown aura and cannot be killed by the werewolf. Your win condition is to kill everyone and be the last person standing. With those out of the way, I'll explain why Bomber is bad. The problem with Bomber's kills is that it's too dependent on grid tiles. And on theory, Bomber sounds like a really strong solo killer because he can get 3 kills per night. While this could be true, however, it does not translate well in an actual game and you will not always get 3 kill. And I'll explain how in this image. This is an imaginary game that doesn't exist, and this assumes that Village glitches every day and doesn't throw, but still makes a mistake, and a game with Gunner, Priest, Jailer, and Medium. So anyway, here you go. Night 1, Day 1, Night 2, Day 2, Night 3, Day 3. And as you can see here, Bomber won't always get 3 kills because the further the game goes, the less consistent Bomber's kill will become. Because as the game goes, players will die and usually they'll be far away from each other that you cannot get your 3 kills. And because its kill is dependent on grid position, it's too luck dependent, which leads me to my second point. Now, the 2 things that make Bomber too RNG dependent is who died and who rolled what. Now, both of these are problematic because Bomber is too reliant on grid position, which means that players dying may lead them apart from each other in terms of grid position, which diminishes Bomber's kill potential. And rolls players rolled would mean that you can kill 3 powerful villagers because they're next to each other in grid position. Or you can kill 3 werewolves, or you can kill Scapegoat, which you don't want as a solo killer. And speaking of other solo killers, here is my next point. Now, if you do not know what power creep is where something in a video game used to be good, but now is no longer viable or less viable due to the environment around it or new alternatives that are better than it. And this seems to be the case for Bomber. However, Bomber was already not a really good role, and the only redeeming quality for Bomber was bypassing protection. And it wasn't just any protection bypassing. Bomber could bypass every single protection. That includes jails and traps, which arsonists could bypass any protection except for jails and traps. And now disaster struck when the Dream update came out, and this was not really good for the Bomber. Especially because Siren and Arsonist has received a buff where they bypass all protection similar to the Bomber. And this has become the final nail in the coffin for the Bomber. And I honestly take back about what I said about Siren. Siren was already a good role, it's just that the problem was her passive ability. And the reason why power creep affects Wolvesville heavily is because of the role card system, where you choose what role you want to play. In that case, you would choose any other role that is not the bomber to play as, especially being arsonist, alchemist, and siren. Anyway, this is an experimental end credit. Let me know what you guys think of it, and should I use it more often in my videos? Anyway, I'll see you later.